All right, guys, today we're going to talk about a really fun topic. If you love
What was that?
real estate, we're going to talk about the most expensive areas in the Seattle area.
We did not make these up. We pulled them off. So Molly used to be in the radio business.
Yep.
So she's used to these microphones.
Sure am.
So we pulled them off her former employer's website, our iHeartMedia.
Oh, okay, great.
So they've done, you don't know any of this.
Well, no, but iHeart steals their content from a different article.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's some article online.
Yeah. So it's been stolen from somewhere else.
Yeah.
All right. So I have a list of the top 5 from iHeartMedia, and we're going to talk through these.
Okay.
Where do you think we're going to go most expensive first, and we'll kind of work our way down. I know some people go 5 through 1. We're going to go 1 through 5.
Okay. Right out of the gate, I'm going to say Medina because that's where Bill Gates lives and Jeff Bezos. And it's right on the water.
Yes and no.
Okay.
So Medina is in that kind of realm, but Yarrow Point, which is right next to Medina, which is also Bellevue.
Thing.
So I'm grouping all these together. So you're right in
Okay.
some. So Medina is part of. There are several cities or towns in Bellevue that are listed separately on this website.
Okay.
But they include. Take a guess of which they are. So you're right. Medina's up there.
Medina, Yarrow Point,
Yep.
Clyde Hill.
Yep.
That's it.
Come.
What else?
You don't know any other?
I don't think I know anywhere else.
Yeah. There's a town called Beaux-Arts.
Okay.
Which you probably never been to.
I've never even heard of
So
that.
it's near another town called Enitai.
Oh, okay. I love it.
So Beaux-Arts has got this. It's this little kind of old school village where everybody has water rights, so you can get down on the water,
Okay.
and it's rad.
Okay, so the reason why Bellevue and all 5 of these little micro cities within or towns within Bellevue are in the top is because Bellevue has it's right on the water, so there's a lot of waterfront properties, which obviously drives the prices up.
Huge, and when you think about it, Molly said Jeff Bezos. Bill Gates was the pioneer, not the pioneer, but he built this huge house. I remember as a kid, it was Bill Gates is building his house and he has a trampoline room.
And he does, and that's true.
But I don't know. Do you think he ever uses it? Or
I remember seeing him on the Ellen DeGeneres show where she was like, "What is something frivolous that you've done or bought?" And he's like, "I created a trampoline room in my house," and so he must use it.
Well, and people probably copied him, and they have those jumping places for kids' birthday parties now.
Yeah,
and they all stole it from Bill Gates.
Yeah. It's fun though, because if you go take a boat out on Lake Washington, you can drive right by his house. And it is a compound.
Yeah, and so Bezos lives there. Who else? Jeff Brotman, who was the founder of Costco, who passed away. He's got a place there. We luckily have a friend who has a place there.
Who has a house right there.
And we just get to go on 4th of July parties and summertime parties. But absolutely,
Bellevue.
number 1 is Bellevue. Where do you think number 2 is?
It's got to be the islands, like Mercer Island.
Yep, Mercer Island number 2. Okay. So randomly growing up, my family wanted to move to Mercer Island when we first moved here in '84, but we couldn't afford it. So even back then, I think houses were probably $200,000.
No, which is, you can't even find a house for $200,000 around here.
No, but we couldn't afford to live there, so that's why we moved to Redmond. But Mercer Island is number 2, and you think about it, that's where my brother and sister-in-law live.
Yep.
Right? And she grew up there, and they moved off locally people call it the Rock. Right? She grew up on Mercer Island, left Mercer Island, and the minute they could afford going back to Mercer Island, went back to Mercer Island.
But as you can tell, Mercer Island is an island, so again, it's surrounded by water. All those waterfront properties driving those costs up.
Yeah, and when you live there, it doesn't feel like unless you're on the water. Like there's a little bridge that goes from from Bellevue, expensive Bellevue.
Yeah, Bellevue to Seattle.
Did you say Kia?
Yeah, connects you from Bellevue to Seattle.
All right. So
we got Bellevue, Mercer Island.
Number 3.
Kirkland?
No, you should know better than this. So number 3 is actually a small town off a city called Edmonds, which is called
Woodway.
Okay, so Woodway. Woodway is even if you live here, I think people who've grown up here don't know where Woodway is.
Probably not. It's like a little piece. It's North Seattle, way North Seattle, right on the water.
So most people in Woodway are obviously wealthy if you made this list, but I think there are 20 homes up on the bluff. So you're overlooking the Puget Sound, so the saltwater, not the lake. And each lot has got to be 5 acres. And think about our friend who lives there.
Yeah.
It is
It's
his
insane.
backyard is literally the size of a football field, and it is perfectly manicured.
And all it does is look over the sound where you can see whales and seals and all that kind of the cruise ships. Like it's stunning up there. Okay, yeah. Woodway. That makes sense.
And again, I had been through Woodway to show houses, over the years, but if we didn't have a friend that lived there, and we love going to your house, buddy, it is a cool place to live.
It is. It's a great place.
Okay, number 4.
So Bellevue, Mercer Island, Woodway, Kirkland.
Oh,
okay.
Okay, so I probably would have said Kirkland as well, just because we live here and we know how expensive it is. But we have a client that just bought in this city. It is a massive house. It is voted the safest place to live in Washington year over year.
Let me guess. Sammamish.
Yeah.
Sammamish. I knew it was the safest place.
Yeah, and it has got, people love Sammamish because of the school districts. The schools are great. It's a safe place to live. The homes are beautiful. I think the only downside, is it's a little bit further out. Right? If you're living in Washington, you've got Seattle, Lake Washington, Big Lake, Bellevue, another big lake, and then Sammamish. So you got to then there's no bridges that go over this other lake, Sammamish. So Sammamish, super safe, super good schools.
Yep.
Crazy expensive to live there.
Yep.
But it's awesome. So that's where, we were talking about my brother. When they couldn't afford to live on Mercer Island, they went to Sammamish. And then they came back.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, number 5. Kirkland. I feel like I have to say Kirkland.
Wrong.
How is Kirkland not in the top 5? It is so expensive in Kirkland.
Kirkland is crazy expensive, but there are other parts. So we said this West Bellevue, and this might be cheating a little bit, but on their list, the next city that's most expensive is still Bellevue, but it's not the Medina Bellevue. It's not the Clyde Hill Bellevue. It's the east of the freeway 405 Bellevue, where there's golf courses, Glendale Golf Course. Yeah, anything other than West Bellevue, right?
Oh, okay. So Issaquah, Newport.
You keep on going. Lakemont.
Lakemont. It's just that whole area.
It's Lakemont, and it's East Bellevue. It is still its proximity to Microsoft is right there.
Yeah,
it's proximity
T-Mobile right there.
T-Mobile's right there. Proximity to downtown Bellevue. Schools are great. I think it hasn't been built up as much as this Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos part of Bellevue, but still crazy expensive to live. Well, Kirkland is an honorable mention. It's not the number 1 honorable mention, but Kirkland's where we live. It's where I basically grew up here. I actually grew up in Redmond, which is another honorable mention.
Okay.
But Redmond and Kirkland are kind of grouped together. Kirkland has that. We've talked about this a million times. It has some waterfront to it. It's got the Google takeover, and it's got the Mesnick family to hang out with.
Yeah.
Other honorable mention. Give me one that you think. And there are plenty of other towns and cities.
What about Woodinville?
Woodinville is on there.
Okay.
But not what I was thinking. The other this is actually where Ty's mom lives.
Oh, Bainbridge.
So Bainbridge is an
island. It's an island.
It's an island. People who live on Bainbridge mostly will probably work in Seattle, and you could take a ferry.
You have to take a ferry to get over to Seattle.
And do you remember what famous couple wanted to live on Bainbridge? I think they looked at one point, but they never ended up buying.
A famous couple that wanted to live on Bainbridge? Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie?
Brad Pitt and
Jennifer Aniston. What?
Yeah.
I didn't know this.
Yeah. They never.
Was this like a news story back in the day or something?
Yeah, back in the day. I think it was when Bill Gates was building his trampoline room.
No kidding.
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine
How about that?
what kind of stalker Molly would be?
Oh my
Brad
God,
Pitt?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are so many great places to live here, and we're not telling you to live in any of these places by any means. Those are just the most expensive places you can live in the Seattle area.